Right then, this is a quick walk around video, and this is for a Honda Civic 1.8 SE. As you can see here, it's finished in this absolutely beautiful vivid blue pearl, which is a really sought after colour on the car. Lovely low mileage one. I'll show you the exact mileage when we get inside the car in a second. But to go around the car for you, it's been kept really nicely. It's only the odd very light mark you'd expect for the age and mileage, but it's a lovely example, this one. Front of the car's very clean indeed, hardly a stone chip of any note on the bonnet at all, which is remarkable given the age of the car. And to come down the near side of the car first, and it's pretty much mirror smooth. I think I could see just one minuscule little indentation, but nothing to write home about at all. Alloy near side front, one that takes all the damage. It's absolutely unmarked actually. And to come down the near side panels, very clean, very original as well, which is lovely to see. Near side rear alloy, again really very clean and tidy. And to come around the back of the car, again it just looks really crisp. It's that sort of car, it's just been kept really very well indeed. Offside of the car, again very clean on the panels there as well. Offside rear alloy, again wonderfully clean. It really is a very striking example. And then offside front alloy, again just been kept beautifully. It's just been cherished, this one. It's not to say there are the odd light mark on the car, as you're clearly going to expect in the car this age and mileage, but as I say, they are very few and far between. Coming into the boot area, these are enormous boots on the Civics. They really are. Obviously you get your 60/40 fold in the rear seats, really nicely finished as well. And to be fair, the carpeted areas are in superb condition back here. It looks like a car that's 2 or 3 years old. And what's nice to see as well, because it was an option, obviously quite an expensive one, someone's paid to have the spare wheel fitted into this car rather than the usual inflation kit. Coming into the back of the car now, all the door cards are in fantastic condition as well. Coming to the back of the rear seats, hardly in this shop I can't see any marks on them at all, which is a real rarity because kids' feet tend to sort of bang against them. But this one, I think it's probably just been the driver in the car because it's just been kept so well. This has, showing you here, the seats in their vertical position, and this forms part of this brilliant magic seat design by Honda. So if you've got anything particularly tall you want to put in the back, and that's the place to put them. And to release them, pull the lever up, drop them down. It's as simple as that. So with the rear seats down now, you see the trim, and it's in lovely condition again. It's been kept wonderfully well. Loads of rear leg room as well. I'm not cheating. I'm over 6 foot tall, and I've got that front seat back for where I sit, my seating position. Front passenger door card, and all the little recesses really nice indeed. Footwell area, clean as a whistle, and front passenger seat, not a lot of use on that one at all. Finally, driver's door card, again exhibiting minimal wear on it, which is again a real rarity because that's where you tend to see the wear on the Civics. And driver's seat, again in fantastic condition there. So it's inside the car now. Engine's running through this section so the dashboard can be illuminated for you. Dashboard looks pretty much as new in here. It is in gorgeous condition, and it's a wonderful dashboard. If I come back here, and this is pretty much the view you get as a driver in these Civics. It really is absolutely stunning, that dashboard, and that's where you should set your driving position actually. Slap bang, the steering wheel rim slap bang between the top of the rev counter and the speedo there, and it's just a fantastic view of quite an iconic dashboard in this day and age. If I pan in there for you, hopefully you can see just 59,953 miles, and aside from a low fuel light, there are no warning lights on this vehicle at all. Just to quickly show you, owner's manual pack is here with the car, and also very importantly, lock and wheel nut key as well. So finally, just to come under this absolutely beautifully presented engine bay by Honda, absolutely superb engines, cam chain driven, and just a Wonderful place to do basic maintenance in here. There's no sort of silly shrouds hiding everything. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda Civic 1.8 SE. Car's registered YP56FFX, and mileage at the start of the road test is 59,947 miles. The reason for doing these road tests is essentially so that anyone that's looking at this car online in an advert actually gets to see that very car in operation. And that gives us a chance basically to let you know of any issues that might be on the car prior to you coming to see us. You know, we know from at our own cost just what it's like to travel many hours to go and see a car, only to find there's a fundamental problem when you get there, and it can be hugely frustrating and a complete waste of your time. So hence that's why we do it. Also done on these lovely quiet country roads in this fabulous part of Gloucestershire, so hopefully be representative of what you'd feel yourself. As you know from the advert, again, a very well looked after car, and it pretty much feels it straight away as soon as you start trundling along the road. Engines are absolutely fantastic. It's obviously the 1.8 VTEC engine, cam chain driven, no cam belts on these. But it's just the way the engine operates day to day. It's a fabulous unit, very, very smooth, very refined, loves to rev, but doesn't sound strange when it's doing so. It's just got everything going for it, and a reputation for reliability that's absolutely unmatched in its class. Worth pointing out, there's absolutely no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car, aside from a low fuel light currently, which will obviously go out once the fuel's gone in. Temperature gauge running at a third, which is exactly where it should be on a Honda car, whether it be petrol or diesel, at normal operating temperatures. Worth pointing out that the fuel economy, because I know with a lot of these things, fuel economy figures quoted by manufacturers have to be taken with a pinch of salt. The reality is, if anything, Honda have been very conservative on these. I've had a number of them and always exceeded the manufacturer's claims, but it's obviously down to driving style. If you change up nice and early, use the torque of the engine, you will get the economy figures. If you row around in low gears the whole time, then obviously you won't. But it's a fantastic engine, and I can't fault it. Engine then feeds through clutch and into gearbox. Clutch on the car, bike point is exactly where it should be on the pedal travel, so all fine there, and it's nice and smooth in operation as well. Gearbox, obviously 6-speed gearbox in this vintage of Honda, and it's a fabulous gear change. I've always gone on about it because the reality is that pretty much all front-wheel drive cars these days, with probably only a couple of exceptions, run cables from the gear lever in hand to the gearbox underneath the car, which is very efficient for lots of reasons, but it can lead to some pretty lifeless and vague gear changes. Whereas I have to say, this is anything but. It's so slick and smooth in operation. It's got a lovely kind of mechanical feel to each and every gear change. You simply can't get lost in the gearbox. The springing between the gears is absolutely pinpoint perfect. It's just an object lesson to other manufacturers on how to make a gearbox that actually engages with you as a driver, if you'll excuse the pun. So all in fine fettle there. There's no wear in the linkage at all that I can feel. Steering of the car, a real strong point on these Civics. It tracks absolutely bullet straight. There's no vibrations at all at this speed or any speed up to legal limit, so all fine there. But it's lovely and dynamic, very quick to change direction, lovely quick gearing on the steering. Really encourages sort of, people who want to drive with enthusiasm. It's matched absolutely brilliantly to the chassis as well, by the way, because the chassis responds just as quickly. Because it would be awful to have quick steering with a floppy, flaccid chassis, whereas this is anything but. It's wonderfully agile in its responses. And again, take with a pinch of salt some motoring press reports on these cars. The ride is really comfortable indeed. It's only on the sharper ridges where it tends to get caught out, as most modern cars do. I think they must have just test driven, you know, the sportier models in the range, because you know, this rides very, very nicely indeed. What I'm looking for on road test is any signs when you hit a bump. You obviously hear it hitting the bump, but there shouldn't be any kind of secondary sort of clonks or clanking going on, and there's nothing at all on this, all in very, very fine order indeed. Just going to give the brakes a bit of a shove, wait for a straightish bit of road. It's a nice solid brake pedal on the car. What I'm looking for is, again, when you hit the brakes, it shouldn't pull violently left or right. Nose should come down nice and straight, as this one does. And also that the brake pedal itself doesn't pulse or vibrate at all when you hit the brakes, especially on that initial press. And again, nothing on this at all in very, very fine order. Looking around inside the car, so the videos really don't do justice to some cars. You know, it's in lovely condition. It's not been cleaned yet. We'll go off to have a valet the next day or so when it's been serviced as well. But it's in lovely condition in here. They're also beautifully made. It's a really fabulously high quality car, and I love this dashboard. I've always said it and always will. It's just unique, whereas you sit in most cars of this vintage, and they're all perfectly fine, I'm sure, but you just tend to get the normal binnacle here, centre stack there, and then they're just slightly variations on the same theme. This couldn't be anything other than a Civic, and I know it polarises opinion, but I think that's a really good thing. So for all those that don't like it, there's plenty that do, and obviously I'm in that camp. But I like the fact that it not only looks brilliant, but it also is fantastically functional. Ergonomically, it's really nice and easy, all the buttons within easy reach, and you learn it very, very quickly indeed. But the best part by miles is this lovely information display in front of me with this two-tier design. Honda, in their genius in this case, put the digital speed up nice and high, so basically as you're driving along you can clearly see the speed out the corner of your eye whilst looking at the road ahead. It's just brilliant, it really is. Then down below that you've got more information. It's kind of in this lovely hologram effect. It looks fantastic, where you've got this huge rev counter. Inside that seems to be floating is the information display for the car, and you've then got this lovely kind of blue hue around that as well. It does look absolutely brilliant, and all working absolutely superbly as well. Which brings me on to the only thing on the car that I've found on test drive that doesn't seem to work quite as it should, and I have to say not uncommon on this age Civic. Basically everything's working, all the electric windows, every button you can press works perfectly. Air conditioning, it basically either needs regassing or more work doing to it, because as I said, on this generation they had a couple of issues. Sometimes it was the relay or the main fuse for the air conditioning system. Sometimes it does simply just needs a regas, and simple as that. But other times it does need more. Compressors are quite common on them in this age, but given the age of the car, it's not something we will be looking at. And I'd said the whole point of the video is to be honest and let you know in advance. But for the 2.5 days a year where it's absolutely vital, you know, I've had my Civic for years and years. It's never worked, and I've never bothered looking at it. But that's it. Apart from that, the car drives absolutely beautifully. And as I say in lots of the videos, we've got no excuses to claim that we didn't know that's how they were meant to be, because both myself and Tony, my business partner, used to work for the local Honda dealership in Bristol, so we know these cars intimately, so hence that's why I pick up on little issues like that. Having said that, if there's anything else on the car that you need to know about, then please do give us a call.